But I also realized that you can only be, should I say, free once you start working for yourself, or you create opportunities for other people. Because I also believe that as much as we want to be businessmen and we want to have millions upon millions in our bank accounts, but I believe it's also important to create opportunities for other people, especially with like you mentioned, with our economy not doing so well. So you want to be able to create opportunities for people, maybe in your community, make a difference. So I want that.
What's up, visionaries? I hope you all guys are doing great. I'm doing great too. And firstly and foremost, I'd like to just apologize for going for too long. I've been gone for like 2 months now without posting a video. I last posted a video in January, and I'm very sure to my very few supporters that I believe will keep on growing. You missed me, you missed my videos and all that, but I just want to first apologize for that. And today I am back, and right now this is episode 4, Beyond the Vision. But I have some big news for you all today, because today I'm not alone. On the last 3 videos, the first episode, second and third, I was alone. It was just me, yapping alone in front of the camera. But today I'm not alone. This is actually the first episode of me bringing our very first guest on Beyond the Vision. And I'm very excited because I have this, a brother of mine. I take him as a big brother. He's my colleague. He's very funny all the time. He makes the work environment always bubbly, and he's very inspirational. And I saw and I believed that he could be the perfect person to be the first visitor in this podcast, Beyond the Vision, because I believe that he's going to share with us some of the experiences he's had that can teach someone's life out there. And everyone, help me to welcome my brother, Andile. Bro, you good?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. So just introduce yourself. What's your name? Perhaps where were you born? Stuff like that.
So igama lami Andile. I'm from Umkomazi. Umkomazi is a rural area here in KZN, in the south coast of KZN. I grew up there in the deep rural areas, in the area called Umkunya. I grew up there with my cousins, my aunties, my uncles. That's Andile. Like, I've always been quiet and shy, but as I grew up, I sort of came out of that bubble. And I became not really a different person, but I became a grown up, if I might put it that way.
And it's very funny how oftentimes I meet quiet people. My best friend is a very quiet person. He's an introvert. But it's funny how when they begin to get out of that intro, whatever it is, they become number one funny, and also they become the loudest in the group. It's so funny how it happens like that. But man, for myself, I was never an introvert, man. I wouldn't say I'm a fully extrovert, but I'm partially intro and partially extrovert, because it depends on the environment. I can be at a place and I feel that I want to be quiet,
I see.
be reserved. And then I can also be in another place and just feel that I want to talk, I want to be bubbly and all that.
And you feel free.
And I feel free,
Yeah.
going through that. So tell me, growing up in the village where you grew up, how was your childhood like? Going to school, primary school, and all that. How was your childhood like?
Actually have a very funny story about my primary school.
Yeah.
Most people don't believe me when I tell them this, but at primary school was very close to my where I was staying at home.
Yeah.
School was close to home.
Yeah.
So what would happen is all my older cousins, when they were going to school, I would cry and follow them. I was still a child at this time, at that point.
You
but
didn't
I
know
would
that going to school is very hard.
Yeah. So I would cry and follow them.
Yeah.
I think I was maybe 4 years of age,
Yeah.
turning 5.
Yeah.
So I was told by my family this. So this one day, the principal saw me because I was at the school gate at
Yeah.
that time. So I was crying there, wanting to go inside. So the principal saw me, and he visited my family later on in the week. He visited my family and basically asked them to buy me school uniform and let me come to school. I think it was maybe around March. It was somewhere in the middle of the year.
Yeah. How old were you at that time?
I think I was 4, turning 5. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so the principal came to my family and he asked them to buy me a school uniform and told me to come to school. So crash, or what they call it now, grade R, or
Yeah.
I don't know any of that. So I just went straight to grade 1, and from there it's been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I get it. And then high school, how was the high school experience? Because I have one story of being in primary school. So I remember when I was in grade, I don't remember much about when I was still a very young child.
Yeah.
All that I remember when I was still young is how I got this scar that you see here.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to share that. But one story of being in primary school, it was when I was in grade 5. So I had a friend, and that guy, he said to me, let's learn how to write, things that in italics.
Oh, okay.
He said, let's learn how to write in italics. In Venda, we call it musombo.
Musombo.
You saw how when you write in italics, it's like you bend, your pen and all that. He said, let's learn it. And then I said, okay, cool. We were very naughty at that time. Then I said, okay, cool, let's learn it. In grade 5, when we started learning, his handwriting accommodated it, but mine didn't accommodate it. My handwriting just tended to be the worst. I was now writing things that are not visible to the teachers, and the teachers started, quarreling on me and all that, telling me, what's going on? You need to make it better. You need to work on your handwriting because it's very bad. And I said, that's how it is. I've been trying and all that. And then from there, I tried, but then, which led to me actually having to, that also mixed up with being naughty. When you're young, you just don't care. You play too much.
Yeah.
I was playing too much. And when you're in primary school, you get promoted to the next grade based on your behavior and also, a little of, the knowledge you have. And that led me to, failing grade 5. And then I repeated grade 5. It was painful when I received my report.
Yeah.
But then after that, when I went back to school the following year, I didn't care. I went to grade 5, the same grade. I didn't care, but I'm repeating. It was just, we are rolling.
Fun times.
But it started to hit hard when I was in grade 6, at the time where my then classmates, the ones who left me in grade 5, so they were going to high school.
Yeah.
I was being promoted from grade 6 to grade 7. That hurt me, bro. That hurt me because I was like, I could be there. They're going to high school now. You know that feeling when others are going to high school and you're still in primary school? You just want to go there.
Yeah.
And it broke me and it hurt me so much. But then I thank God. I thank God because that made me, have a different perspective about school. I didn't like school at all.
Yeah.
I didn't like school. I hated school. But that made me feel like, you know what, I need to take these things serious,
Yeah.
because I don't ever want to fail again. I want to go to high school. I want to, be going forward like other people.
Yeah.
And that's why I decided that, you know what, let me work on myself. I worked on myself. I was trying to study. I couldn't even study. When I was studying, I could just take a book like this, open it and sit down and try to read. That's not studying, It's just reading a book like I'm reading a newspaper.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much that's the story that really it has settled with me from primary school. I mean, I can never forget that thing. I failed, but then it taught me a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But tell me, when you got to high school, when did you choose your majors, like science? I believe you did science.
Yeah.
When did you choose? Is it grade 10 like us?
Yeah, it was in grade 10.
And what made you choose to do science and mathematics?
Okay, so for me, so coming from the rural areas to high school, it was a difficult shift for me because I was coming from the rural areas, now moving to the city.
Yeah.
I moved to Durban when I went to high school.
Oh, okay.
So I was in this multiracial school. I didn't know much. I couldn't speak English that well. So for me, it was a very big challenge until I believe it was in grade 9.
Yeah.
There was a teacher of mine, Mr. Suraj.
Yeah.
He advised me to go for physics and life sciences and maths, because I was quite sharp at maths. Even at primary, I was sharp at maths.
Yeah.
Physics, not so much, but I grew with it.
Yeah.
I grew with it. So for me, it wasn't a decision that I made on my own. A teacher, I think he saw potential in me, and then he advised me to choose physics, life sciences, and maths. So from there, I could see that it was difficult, and especially with now subjects being taught in a language that was a bit foreign to me, because I was not exposed to English that much.
Yeah.
But I realized that there's actually opportunities in the engineering or in the physics field. So I went with it. And I started doing my own research while I was in high school. And I could see, I think the subjects that I had picked, the majors that I had picked, they were actually good. Yeah.
Okay. And from there, you went to varsity. Which varsity did you go to, by the way?
I went to Durban University of Technology.
Yeah. And what did you study? I know it's engineering, but which field?
I went for industrial engineering.
Industrial engineering. Yeah. Okay. Was it just like anybody else? Well, no, let me not say like anybody else, but most of the people, they never know, I want to do this from the get-go and all that. But is it something that maybe you knew, I want to do industrial engineering, or is just something that when you were in grade 12, you just said, okay, let's apply for it?
Funny story. I always say my physics and maths teachers, they've been, especially in high school, they've been very helpful in terms of shaping my life and the way it is today.
Yeah.
Because even the industrial engineering field, it's not something that I chose on my own.
Yeah.
Like, I had never heard of industrial engineering. When you're in high school, you think of mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. Those are your common engineering fields. And so another teacher of mine, he spoke about industrial engineering, and at the time there was a lot of opportunities in the field.
Yeah.
Because after he spoke about it, I went home and did some research. I realized, it's something that is not your ordinary engineering,
Yeah.
but I could see it sort of combines almost all the engineering fields. So
Yeah.
I wanted to try that. I wanted to go for that. And actually, I think when I was applying for varsity and all of that, it was second option because
Yeah.
I had other fields that I wanted to go to.
Yeah.
I wanted to do teaching, which I'm glad I didn't go into teaching because
Yeah, we are in South Africa.
yeah, we're in
No.
South Africa. And
Yeah.
yeah. So that's how I picked industrial engineering. I had no knowledge of it
Yeah.
prior to that until that one moment where we were speaking about careers in class, and I decided I'm gonna do some research about this new engineering and
Yeah.
go for it. Yeah.
And how was it delving into it, when you went to varsity?
At first, varsity was quite difficult.
Yeah.
Because it was a different level. You go from primary to high school, you can feel the shift in the education.
Yeah.
And then you go from high school to varsity.
Yeah.
It's a whole new level because there you're studying with people that have families, starting with and no one there is behind you all the time and encouraging you to study.
For real, yeah.
And at the time, I was staying with one of my cousins, so I was also working. So when I started varsity, I was working.
From your first year?
Yeah, from my first year. Oh. It was a bit tough. So I was working, and first semester I failed one module. I failed one module, and at the time I was a self-payer, so I failed one module first semester, and I didn't know how to tell my mother. Yeah, it was it was an eye opener.
Yeah.
So I failed the module, and then I could realize, things are getting real now.
Yeah.
But luckily, I did well in all the other modules.
Yeah.
I've got a few distinctions here and there, but I did terribly in this one module. So I thought to myself, I was gonna quit working, but then I was working because I needed money for transport.
Yeah.
And because I was staying with my cousin, I needed money for food and basic daily needs. So the following semester, I told myself I'm not gonna do anything else besides work and school.
Yeah.
So from there, it got better.
Yeah.
And also I would go to work after school. I would go to work, maybe leave school at like 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Go to work, and then from work, go back to school. So maybe I'd leave work at 6 o'clock, 6:30, and then go back to school where I'd spend time in the computer lab or in the library, studying, testing myself, watching videos on YouTube about the very same modules that we're doing.
Yeah.
So from there, it got easier. And I also stopped being friends with some of my buddies back then, because I could see, you in varsity, you make friends, but then you make wrong friends.
Yeah.
People who are not really interested in studying, they're just there for the varsity life.
Sure.
And, so I had to get rid of some friends. And then after that, it was a bit better. Yeah, I started doing well. Yeah.
So you were working on your first year.
Yeah.
You're doing your first year in university. I'm just imagining this. It's your first year in university. You're working. Okay. Did you continue to work throughout your degree?
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, I'm just asking myself, how did you do it? Maybe it's different in DUT, because at UJ where I studied, like from undergrad, from first year, you really need to be on campus because of the classes, because of the assessments. You always have submissions.
Yeah.
You always have practicals that you need to be doing at school. How were you managing all those kind of things if they were there at DUT?
I'd say I was very fortunate to have, at the time, the owner of the place where I was working at.
Yeah.
It was a wholesaler.
Yeah.
So the owner, as soon as I started school,
Yeah.
I approached him and told him, "Uguti, I'm studying, but I also need money.
Yeah.
So in case there's days where I don't pitch up to work,
Yeah.
please don't get angry at me
Yeah.
for that." So he was very understanding. He was very understanding. I think, yeah, he at some point he even offered to let me take a few weeks off for studying while I was also getting paid.
Yeah.
So what would happen if I come to work maybe at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, I'll get paid for half the day,
Yeah.
which was not even half. Looking back now, it was actually a favor. They were
Yeah.
doing me a favor, and
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for that. So I'll get paid for half the day while I've only worked for 3 hours, 4 hours. So it was, for me, I'm very grateful for that. So
Yeah.
he was very understanding. Sometimes I would pitch up to work, and when I was swamped with the assignments and practicals and whatnot, I would just call in and tell them I'm not coming to work for the rest of the week. Please understand, and they would understand. They would understand.
Wow. No, that's so inspiring, man. Because us today, I don't want to say that we are having it easier, but it's very easy for someone from high school. As long as you have good grades, you get accepted in university. Even though sometimes you don't have good grades, you get a sponsorship. Like NSFAS is there for everyone who needs sponsorship. But just trying to think about it, that took courage and it took determination, honestly, to be working and starting from scratch, undergrad, first year, while you're working up until you finished and you were still working. It's something inspiring that I believe that there's someone out there who may be going maybe through the same thing, who may be wanting to actually give up or something like that, of which hearing you speak like that now, I can see that, okay, actually it's possible.
Yeah.
If you were able to do it, then anyone can do it, man. Anyone can do it. Wow. No, that's something that is so inspiring. I wasn't expecting to hear that. You know what I mean? So throughout your varsity years, did you get any sponsorship as you were studying, or
not really. I only got NSFAS. I think it was my final year.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was my final year, and by that time, I didn't really need it that much. But I could see that even my mother was running out of funds.
Yeah.
And we needed something to, like a booster.
Yeah.
So I applied for NSFAS and I got it. So I was able to complete my final studies without any hassles. So
Wow.
yeah, I did get sponsored.
Well, that's some great experience. But what would you say that whole experience, being the way it is, what would you say it's something that it taught you going through something like that?
Sure. I think it taught me to always grab an opportunity with both hands. Because at the time, I think all my peers, how I can put it is that it started when I had left high school. My final day in high school, writing your final exam. most of my peers, they went to do your pens down parties.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't do that. You know, I went home. I washed my uniform because I knew at the time there were my cousins that are behind me. They could use the uniform that I was using.
Yeah.
So I went home, washed all my uniform, and then the very same week, I went to an internet cafe, started preparing my CV because I realized at the time I needed a job because there's no more school now. I need to do something while I'm waiting for varsity.
Yeah.
I need to do something in the meantime. So I prepared my CV. I started applying. I was going to door to door, each company, and in the retail shops as well.
Yeah.
So I was putting my CVs there. And there was a guy in my area where I was staying. His name was Lucky. So he got me this job where I was working for when I was studying at UT. So he got me that job. I'll never forget this day. 23rd of December. It was a Thursday.
Yeah.
23rd of December, 2016.
Yeah.
I was 16 at that time. So from there, I've always had this mindset that if you want something, you must go for it. If you want something, you mustn't be afraid to take chances. And even if you take a chance and you fail, I don't see that as failure. I see that as an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to learn. So I can say that it taught me a lot and it helped to shape the person I am today. Because now I know that anything can happen. And even if something happens, I know now that I have the courage to face any situation. So I would say that that whole experience, it molded me and it shaped the person that I am today.
I get it. I mean, it was supposed to. It wasn't an easy one. Maybe just to share how I got into engineering as well. You know, it's so I remember when I was doing grade 7. When I was doing grade 7, I've already shared it on my YouTube, but I'm just gonna share it again. I wanted to, you know, I loved gadgets and I loved working with things that has mechanical processes within them, electronics. You know, I was always that kid who was fascinated about, you know, the mechanics of things, the cars and all this stuff. And I loved cars more. And I remember asking one of my big sisters, she's not my sibling though, but she's my, you know, people refer to them as cousins. So I asked her that, you know what, I want to do something that after university, I'll work with cars because I loved cars so much. And she said, you need to do mechanical engineering. And I said, oh, okay, mechanical engineering. I didn't ask any further. I said, okay, cool. When I grow up, I want to be an engineer, which is a mechanical engineer. Grade 7. Then I went to high school. I wasn't sharp. You mentioned that you were very sharp in maths and other subjects. I wasn't sharp at all. I was, I don't want to say I was dumb, but that, I wasn't sharp at all. But when I went to grade 8, you know, I had this courage and determination in me that, you know what, I want to become a mechanical engineer and to be that, I need to be sharp. To be that, I need to get good grades for me to go and study at a reputable university for that. And I started working hard. Grade 8, I started working hard. It was not easy to get to where I wanted to be. In fact, I didn't get to where I wanted to be for the first 3 years in high school. So grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, I was not there yet. I was still an average student. But things started changing when I was in grade 10. That was 2019, term 3, when I first got my good mark in mathematics, which was 63% in mathematics. That was a big mark for me in mathematics. And I was so happy that I got that mark. And then from there, I told myself that, you know what, in these subjects and the other subjects, I'm no longer going below this.
Yeah.
I'm going only beyond this.
You set the
You know what I
benchmark
mean?
now.
Yeah. So I said that and I started praying about it. Fortunately enough, I already knew God by that time because I started dedicating my life into Christ at a very young age.
Yes.
Because, you know, growing up from 2014, I was playing music at church. I was playing drums at church. So it exposed me to, you know, the culture of being a Christian and being a child of God. So I knew God and I started praying about it that, you know what, God, I know I wasn't born with this knowledge. I wasn't born being a genius. But I'm not saying make me a genius, but help me to get what I want.
Yes.
Just help me to get good grades so that I can be able to go to university and study for what I want. And it happened that God did it, man. When I went to grade 12, I was already scoring distinctions in all my subjects.
Nice.
And then after that, I passed grade 12 with, I think I passed with 5 distinctions. I did 7 subjects. Wow. I got 5 distinctions. And the other 2, it was level 6. So they were 70s.
Yeah.
You know? And then I was accepted in several universities. You know, in high school, people make fun of it that thing, study very hard, universities will fight for you. People make fun of it and they'll be like, there is no university that's going to fight for you. You're going to be rejected and whatever. It doesn't necessarily mean that the university will fight for you, but it means that you will be accepted anywhere. Anywhere you want. I was accepted in so many universities in South Africa. UCT is there, TUT is there, TEF is there, SMU is there. You know, so UCT I was accepted in BH in mechanical engineering.
Okay.
And I was checking that that's far. I don't even know anyone down there.
Yeah.
And also I don't even have sponsorship. You know, I didn't even know how to apply for bursaries. I only applied for NSFAS.
Yeah.
So the choice that I had left, that it was a university that I loved. It was the University of Johannesburg.
Yes.
They accepted me for BH Tech in mechanical, and I grabbed it with both hands. I registered same day when I received my results. I registered, and then after registering a week later, I traveled from Limpopo to Joburg.
Yeah.
And after that, all thanks to she's my mother's aunt. She took me in. She helped me so much when I came as a first year. I didn't have money to travel to go and do all the things that I needed to do before going to school for the first day. You know, all the student cards, whatever, getting around the campus and all that. She helped me a lot. Getting the rest, she helped me a lot. She used their own money. She provided me with their own apartment. You know, I was staying with her. Her own food. I wasn't paying for nothing.
Wow.
She helped me a lot. So from first year, she was there. She was helping me. And I went and I studied mechanical engineering at UJ up until I finished last year. And up until I finished last year, she was the one who was helping me all along. You know, she was always there whenever I needed her. Any type of thing, any type of help that I needed, could it be about money, could it be about an advice? She was just always there. You know, so I studied, and I'm sharing this because it's a huge difference from what you experienced. Yeah. You were working and you were looking after yourself. You were all by yourself. But I'm very grateful because I had someone who was there, you know what I mean, up until I finished. And to the grace of God, man, I'm very sure you finished on record time as well.
It wasn't really record time because I had failed.
I remember. Yeah.
So before you went to university, when you wanted to do mechanical engineering, did you also have this mindset in your mind that a mechanical engineer is someone who's going around fixing cars? Or an electrical engineer is someone who's fixing electric cables? Because that was the mentality I had back then. It was crazy. It was crazy.
It is, bruh. Like, I just wanted, very funny because after that, when I was in high school, I discovered that, okay, so in this mechanical engineering with cars, people, they assemble cars. You know, what they do, they put together parts to make a car. I said, I want to do that. So to me, it's just, that's what a mechanical engineer do. But, you know, I mean, I guess it's what it is. And we realized it later. But it's great because I did something that I loved, and also you did something that you didn't really love it, but there were people who made you take the right decision when you were thinking about doing teaching, but they helped you to shape your future well. And today you're doing something, you are in the workforce where you are loving your job and all that. You know, it's very great. So I know that before you came here, where we are working right now, you have worked before, right? I mean, apart from when you were working in university, I'm sure you have worked as an engineer before. Just share with me maybe some of the experiences that you've had in maybe the previous companies before you got here.
So I think from, was it 2020? That's when I started working in the field where I studied. So the shift from varsity into the workplace, that's also another different step. Because I'd been working previously, but I was working in a shop. So the mentality there is different from when you're working in a company, a production company. So it's very different. Now you start to have KPIs that you need to meet. All these fancy terms and documentation, and you have projects now that you need to complete. So it almost feels like you're back in school, but then you have to step up. You have to step up. So for me, some of the experiences, I think when I first started with the first company where I worked in the engineering field, I think at first I sort of struggled because when you're at work, you work with like very old people. You get someone who's like old enough to be your father or your mother, and he's your colleague. Sometimes you have to give them instructions. So for me, it was very tough because I couldn't bring myself to give an older person an instruction. So it was a big step for me to realize that, okay, now I've gone to school. I have a responsibility to do certain things. And I basically have to give instructions to some people. People who are much older than me. Even people who are much older than my parents. So for me, it was a bit tough. It was hard to give someone. I remember there was times where I will be given a project and I couldn't complete it because it required me to give instruction to people and to basically to follow up on people and find out where they are with certain tasks and certain activities. And for me, you must understand that coming from a rural area where respect is something that is it's up there. You have to have respect for your elders, and not only your elders, for young people as well. So for me, it felt like I was being disrespectful to an adult when I'm asking them to do something. So it was a very tough experience. But I got used to it, and I realized that I think in life you get people like you mentioned, where your mother's aunt was helping you. I think I've been very fortunate in life to have angels around me, people who have helped me a lot, and they've helped me make, for the most part, the right decisions and the decisions that have helped to make me the person that I am today. So even at work, there was always people that were willing to help me. I had a mentor that was always helpful to me, and he would tell me, Uguti, sometimes he would be harsh, but for the most part, he was a really good person, and he helped me go through the shift from varsity into the corporate workplace.
Yeah.
But I'm very grateful for everything, and for all the people that have been in my life and that have helped me, because maybe they saw potential. That have helped me to make the right decisions and stay away from trouble.
No, I get that. But then tell me, we are in South Africa, and you know how high the unemployment rate is here in South Africa, the situation in South Africa, the economy, and all that. I just want to ask a question. Do you plan to stay only in corporate for the rest of your life, without maybe something else or something that generates extra income for you, or you love your job in such a way that you just want to stay in corporate, maybe until you have grandchildren or all that?
So I used to have, when I started working in corporate, I used to have this mentality that at 35, I'm going to stop working, and by then I'll have my own business. Something to bring in some money. But then I realized in corporate, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn, people to meet. You actually meet business-minded people in corporate more than you meet them out there in the world. So for me, I don't want to stay in corporate for the rest of my life, but I want to stay in corporate if I'm still enjoying what I'm doing. But then I want to be a businessman. I actually have something that I'm doing on the side with my mother. But it's not big, but
nothing is too small, man.
Nothing is too small, and you have to start small anyway. So I want to grow big in the corporate, make a name for myself. But I also realize that you can only be, should I say, free once you start working for yourself, or you create opportunities for other people. Because I also believe that as much as we want to be businessmen and we want to have millions upon millions in our bank accounts, but I believe it's also important to create opportunities for other people, especially with the, like you mentioned, with our economy not doing so well. So you want to be able to create opportunities for people, maybe in your community, make a difference. So I want that. I want to be able to make a difference. But also, as long as I'm enjoying corporate, I believe I will stay. Maybe until 45, 50. I think I'm enjoying corporate, but also, in this economy, you need something big to bring in money on the side.
I get it. That's very interesting to hear, because I would say I have the same mentality. And also, one thing that I'm very grateful for is how God did things by his own terms, not by my terms. I'm very grateful to be in the company that I'm in right now, because it's a very good working environment. You know that it's a very great company, great people, great managers, and everything. And I've always wanted to. I don't want to stay in corporate for the rest of my life, but for the most part of my career, the first part of my career, I want to be in a great environment, just like where I am right now.
Yeah.
And I want to build myself, not just in the engineering field, but I want to do a lot of things outside engineering.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that God has bestowed in me that I believe that if I live and not drain those things and not drain my whole potential in all those things, then I wouldn't be serving my purpose here. He would have just gifted me things that I'm not using them, So I do love practicing engineering, and I will practice engineering. I don't know until when, but just like you said, I want to have other things, businesses outside corporate. But if my working environment, I'm enjoying it and it's fine, I don't see myself leaving it for as long as I'm living a life of ease. Because also what's important is living this life knowing that I'm serving my purpose. I believe that one of my purposes is to, help those other people who need, chances in life, who need opportunities in life. You mentioned that you want to have a business so that you can be able to create employment for people here in South Africa, which comes back to a purpose. It's not just us, seeking millions. It's not just us, having businesses so that we can have millions. Because I have seen that there are people who have businesses just because they want money. And mostly is those people who cut corners. Is those people whose businesses, they are not even legitimate. They're not even playing. They're not even playing any part. They're not even contributing to the economy of South Africa just because they are doing it for themselves. You know what I mean? But for me, it's a matter of purpose. I want to do something that I know I'm serving my purpose that God has given me. If I'm starting a business, I should know what is the purpose that I'm serving with this business. With what I'm doing right now, what is the purpose that I'm serving? In the engineering field that I'm practicing, what is the purpose that I'm serving there? You know what I mean? So that is very interesting, man. That is something that is very, very great. So I know this was never going to be too long because I just wanted to make it as short as possible. I don't want to spend much of your time, but let me just say thank you so much, man, for coming through. I believe that I still have so much to share, and I know you still have so much to share. This is just the beginning.
You can always arrange and have a second. A second session.
Let me just say I'm so grateful that you honored my request to come, even though there were some circumstances on the way. We kept on postponing, but I'm very grateful that finally today we got to get time to come and have this session. And trust me, I wasn't expecting you to be telling me that you were working and you were studying at the same time.
Most people get shocked.
I'm so shocked and I'm so grateful because you shared that. I'm sure someone out there will find relief and will also be inspired because of how courageous you were and how you never gave up. Today, you are working for this great company from a very dark place. It wasn't easy, obviously, but it takes resilience and determination. So I just want to say thank you very much for coming through. And man, one question that I have for you, it will be the last question. What do you want to be remembered as when it's all said and done?
That's a very interesting question. What do I want to be remembered as? I would say I want to be, I want people to look back at my life and be inspired. I want people to look back at my life and say, this guy was very helpful. This guy was very kind.
Yeah.
I want to be remembered as a person who contributed towards people's lives.
Yeah.
I want to be remembered as a person who loved and feared God.
Yeah.
I want to be remembered as someone who wasn't afraid to take chances. I always believe that, you have to take a chance.
Yeah.
You have to take a chance. In this day and age, you cannot be sitting and waiting for a miracle. You have to, basically, you have to get up and create that chance yourself and then take it. So even for you, I'm very proud that you've started your own thing. That's why when you requested that I come onto your show, my first thought was I have to be there, and especially since you mentioned that I'll be your first guest. So I did think that people get they get anxious when you tell them you're the first person to do this, and so I didn't want I didn't want you to have to be looking for people and begging people to like beg them to come on. Because people get anxious. So I want people to remember me as a person who takes chances and is unapologetic about that. You take a chance. If you succeed, then thumbs up. If you fail, then it's a lesson. And it's a lesson that you've got for free, basically. Because in life, we have to pay for everything. You pay for school, you pay for food, basically we pay for everything. So if you take a chance and you fail in life, I don't see it as failure. I think that's it's a lesson for you to remember for the rest of your life, basically. So I just want people to remember me as someone who took chances and is able to help other people.
Wow, that's great, man. That's great. And again, thank you, bro. It's not easy, as you mentioned, to know when you're knowing that, okay, I'm going to be the first guest in this guy's series. Okay, but it's always about taking a chance. And it means you trusted me, and it means you believed in me and what I'm doing. And I'm so grateful. I do not take it for granted. It's not many people who can just say, sure, I will pull up. But the fact that you took it into consideration and you made time for it, I'm so grateful for that. And my last, I would just say that I wish you all the best, man, in the field, in the engineering field, with your future and everything that you want to do in life. I really hope that God will pull up for you. I pray that God will come through and he will always direct your way. I believe that also, for these people that played this very important part in your life, who advised you to take the path that you took, it was not just their own wisdom or knowledge, but I believe that was God working through them, because God had a plan for you. Because if you look at where you are today and compare yourself to how it was before you even realize that I'm going to do industrial engineering or I want to go do this, it's some kind of unbelievable. It's some kind of a miracle. So I would say that those people came through for you, and it was God. So I hope that God will bless you in everything that you do. In what you're working on with your mother. I pray that God may come through for it. Whatever business idea that you have, I'm praying that God makes it a success. And one day,
thank you.
We'll come back here. It might not be specifically in this place, but We'll come back here on this very series and we'll share and being in a different level of life.
Yeah.
You know, having achieved so much. So thank you very much, man.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.